I'd like to welcome you to the QB Power Hour. Today we're going to be discussing the pricing, various topics about pricing, including pricing mistakes, as well as the results of the Intuit Average Billing Rate Survey. So I appreciate you all joining me today. So first, this is our agenda. We'll talk a little bit about the QB Power Hour and your host, the CPE process. Our sponsors, who we don't have new sponsors for the upcoming year yet, so we'll be skipping right over that one today. And we're going to specifically get into our learning objectives, learning from pricing mistakes that we as accounting professionals make. We'll discover, oops, that's kind of a repeat there. Sorry about that. We'll consider the results of the Intuit Average Billing Rate Survey, and that's really our big one. We're going to be talking about some of these things. The Q&A we're actually going to do throughout today. You all are going to talk, you all are going to communicate via the questions box. So you'll type in your questions or comments in there, and we'll go through and do some of those discussions. So a little bit about the QB Power Hour. This is a webinar series. Hector Garcia and I do it every other Thursday for the most part at noon Eastern time. Next week, Hector is covering like part 2 of our pricing series. Hector is going to be talking about creating value and some pricing accounting services. It's more of a deep dive. So today we're going to talk about pricing in general and some pricing discussion and the results of that survey, and then Hector's going to take you more in depth on the next one on July 26th. Hector's also going to cover the 2 that we have coming up in August. I will be on a family vacation. We're actually doing a Russian cruise for 2 weeks this year, so that's going to be really interesting. But normally on QB Power Hour, we talk about either QuickBooks Desktop or QuickBooks Online, but then there's also a lot of times where we'll have a third-party app on, or we'll talk about some practice management topics like we're doing pricing here today. So I'm glad to have you all joining us. My name is Michelle Long. I am a CPA with my own practice, Long for Success. I am located in the Kansas City area. However, I love traveling all around the U.S. I've had the privilege of traveling all kinds of places, meeting lots of you. I know it was great at Scaling the Heights to have people come up and say, yay, I listened to you on the Power Hour, or when I was in Florida or on the East Coast. I love meeting you all, and so I think that's great, and I enjoy meeting you all. I'm the author of 5 different books. You can check those out on Amazon. Also, I'd encourage you to join us on the Facebook group. I don't have that link right here, but on the very last page of this, the PowerPoint slides, which are in your handouts, the very last page of this has the link to the Facebook group. It is a very active Facebook group for our QB Power Hour listeners, and it's a great place to continue that discussion. So I'd love to encourage you to join us there. Hector Garcia is my QB Power Hour partner. He's really the brains behind this. He's the guy who really has all the energy, enthusiasm, handles all the CPE and everything. Hector, again, is going to take a deep dive into some pricing discussions on the next QB Power Hour. So for the CPE process, Hector's the one who handles all this. For CPE, for those of you who are a certified pro advisor or a certified bookkeeper where you need CPE credits, you must be attending this live. If you're listening to this recording on YouTube, I'm sorry you're not eligible. You must be logged in for at least 50 minutes. We will go over that. We'll go at least an hour probably. There will be, I think I actually have 5 polling questions in there today. You only have to answer 3 of those in order to get the CPE credit. Your CPE certificates will be emailed in roughly 3 weeks, so keep an eye out for those, to watch those out there, and you'll find those. Just one second here. I am going to do a little admin details as I look for Mindy and try to put her so she can see the questions. So just one second here, and as you all keep jumping in here, we have more and more people joining us. It moves people around. There we go. All right, sorry about that little admin detail there. So before we get into this, let's go ahead and launch our first survey. Go ahead and launch our first survey here. Did you complete the average billing rate survey? So Heather Satterley and I sent this out, and you're going to see a little details on the link to it and things like that in just a moment. But Heather Satterley and I sent out the Intuit Average Billing Rate Survey. I've been involved in this survey for many years, and this year Heather joined me to help crunch all the numbers and generate the generate graphs and look into the background and all that stuff. But anyway, we kept sending out information, and during all the power hours, we would ask you to please complete the billing rate survey. Some of you did, many of you did not. So hopefully after hearing results today, I can encourage you to go sign up to submit your email information to be included in next year's results. Everything is confidential, and it's great, valuable information for us to be able to share with one another. And Jenny says, great to meet you at Scaling New Heights. So that's awesome. Somebody wants to know, how do we get the handouts? On the GoToWebinar toolbar, you'll see handouts. You can download that there. And Mindy is already sharing a link to the average billing rate survey in the Q&A box. So hopefully that will help you there. Somebody said, because I'm no longer based in the U.S., I did not complete the survey. Well, honestly, you should go ahead and complete it. You'll see we've got Canadian results included in there, and we do have people from other countries who will complete the survey as well. So go ahead, because the more people that give us some input for that, the better. And Janine says, go Hector. Yes, Hector's awesome, isn't he? Hector is just really great. All right, I'm going to go ahead and close that polling question in 3, 2, 1, and only 21% of you participated in that survey. So I really hope in the future more of you will be able to participate in that survey so we have additional results. So first of all, let's talk about just some general pricing discussion and some money mistakes and things like that, because I know a lot of us make mistakes when it comes to pricing. And this is where, I have to be honest with you, and I need to share with you that when I first started my practice, over 20-some years ago. I hate to say that. It makes me feel old. I started when I was 10, right? But when I first started my practice, I made a lot of mistakes, and just a few of them dealt with pricing or setting my billing rates. One of the things that I did was I set my billing rates way too low when I first started. I made excuses. I'm just getting started. I shouldn't charge that much. I'm working from my home, which back then we had to say suite B for basement or suite A for attic. Home-based business was kind of cutting edge back then. So, I would make excuses. I'm just getting started. I shouldn't charge that much. I'm home-based. I shouldn't charge that much. I don't have that much overhead. I shouldn't charge that much. And just basically, I undervalued my services, and I undervalued my skills and knowledge and everything that I was providing to people. So I think a lot of us tend to do that. We make excuses. Perhaps your excuse is, well, I'm not a certified bookkeeper, or I'm not a CPA, or, well, I'm not, this or that. I mean, we just tend to make excuses for ourselves and underestimate our value. So I encourage you, do not underestimate your value or make mistakes. We tend to think because it's easy for us, oh, this is easy. Our clients could do it. Well, it's easy for you because you know how to do accounting and bookkeeping. You know how to reconcile a bank account. Our clients don't know that. So don't underestimate our value. And the other thing is, I also thought, well, if I set lower rates, I'll get more clients. And I'm just getting started, and I need clients, so I'm going to set my rates low, right? We cannot do that. We cannot try to compete based on price, because you know what? There's always somebody that's going to charge a lower rate than you. There are people in other countries that are charging $5 an hour for bookkeeping. We do not want to be Walmart of the bookkeeping industry or accounting industry. Okay, we can't be the lowest prices, and we don't want to compete based on price. So don't do that. As a matter of fact, if your rates are too low, you're probably driving away clients, because think about this. If I'm calling a plumber because I need someone to come out and fix my plumbing, right? I've got a clogged sink or something. So I call the plumber, and I'm calling around because I'm price shopping. And if I call around and one plumber is $65 an hour, somebody's $75 an hour, another guy's $85, $95, and then somebody's $35 an hour. Well, the guy who's $35 an hour, I'm going to assume he doesn't really know what he's doing. He's not a professional. Maybe he's doing this on the side, make extra money, and he's not really skilled and doesn't know what he's doing. I'm not going to call him. So when we price our fees too low, it can send the same signal to small business owners. So we need to think about that. So that's one thing. So do not set our prices too low and make excuses for ourselves. One of the other things is I continued using hourly billing way too long. I did not switch to fixed or value pricing. One of the things there was I wasn't confident in my pricing abilities. What it takes is more education, and that's part of what I want to help you get started with today. But there is a lot more information out there. Hector's going to go over more with you next week. There's tons of information getting into the details on, pricing, and, nobody will ever tell you what to set your prices at. we try to give you ideas and suggestions and help you to understand kind of how to do the pricing, so that it can help you become better at it. But each one of you needs to determine which price is right for you, especially because it varies depending on your education, your experience, your background, and your expertise. All kinds of different things come into play on your prices and what they should be. So we're going to talk a lot more about hourly billing in just a little bit. So start switching away from hourly billing. We should stop doing hourly billing, and you're going to see some of that when we get into some of the survey results. More and more people are dropping the hourly billing. The other thing that I failed to do was offer a choice for my services. So I did not offer a choice. And so what we've learned, and what it's proven by research, if you do the research on this, we should be offering our clients 3 choices when it comes to our services. Give them 3 different options for the services they want us to provide. So we can create 3 packages, if you will, of services. So what I generally recommend, just as abbreviated, and of course you can get way more in-depth on this, but that's not the focus of our webinar today. So what you can do, though, is put your middle package is what you do most frequently for your clients. That's the one that most of them will choose, is that middle package that's proven on research. So set your middle package, and then for those clients that are really price sensitive, take away some things. Maybe the client will do more. Maybe the client doesn't get certain reports or certain options, things like that. Take some things away for the lower level package, if you will, and that's a lower price. And then add additional things in there to provide additional value for a higher price package. You can include things that provide additional value, like additional reports, which you can customize and create and set up. You could be sending the owner of the company, let's say, a collections report every week, or the salespeople a collections report every week. You can automate some of this so it happens automatically, takes you little or no time. Also consider support options as part of your packages, or as a separate option for your packages. And this really became apparent to me. So one of the times way back when I had early days of my practices, I don't know, maybe 5 or 10 years into my practice, and I had gone on site and I taught this bookkeeper how to do the bookkeeping for this client who was a construction client. So I had to teach her how to do the job costing. So I had spent all day with her, and I had told the client that I was going to be out of town next week because it's spring break and we were going on a ski trip with my family. And so I had told him that. Of course, just because I say it and they hear it doesn't mean they're really listening, right? So this client didn't really listen to me. So on Friday at the end of the day, I said, well, thank you. It's been great. I know you're going to do awesome, and I'll check in with you when I get back the following week, see how you're doing. Just keep a list of your questions. In the meantime, we'll go over it when I get back. And the owner of the company says, what? You're gone next week? You can't go on vacation. I said, I told you I'm on vacation next week. We're going on a ski trip. And he says, well, you still have to be able to answer her call. Or what if she has questions and she needs your help? She's got to be able to get a hold of you. And I said, dude, I'm sorry, we're going skiing. And he says, well, you just can't. He says, doctors on when they're on vacation or something, they're on call. Can't you be on call? I said, well, I never really thought about that. What did you have in mind? And he says, well, if she calls and has a question, you answer her question real quick. And I said, well, first of all, I'm going to be on the side of a mountain, so I can't just answer a question. If you've ever been skiing and you're on a ski lift and you got gloves on and maybe a helmet and goggles and all this other stuff, you can't just answer a phone very easily on the ski lift. First of all, you might drop it and lose it forever in the snow. So anyway, he says, well, okay, you could take a break and then call her back, within 30 minutes or an hour or something. And I said, well, what would this be worth to you? I've never really done this before, but I do need to take breaks from skiing. We need to go in and get some hot cocoa or something. We get tired, we get cold. I can use a break, and I could call her back. It wouldn't be that big a deal. I said, well, what did you have in mind? What would this be worth to you? He was like, well, how about $1,000 extra above your fees or something like that? I don't remember the details of how much it was, but it was enough that I said, okay, done. If you're going to interrupt my vacation, it's going to be worth my while, right? I was astonished that he was willing to pay me that much money over and above my normal rates just to have me available. It's an insurance policy. Sometimes our clients want to know that we are there for them. We're available when they need us. So consider some of these support options, because if you're not answering your clients' questions, and if worst case scenario, they're afraid to ask you a question because you'll charge them. Like, how many people are afraid to pick up the phone and call a lawyer? The clock will start ticking, right? So we don't want that. So include some support options in your services for your clients. Answering quick questions might be included. And it's not necessarily a quick question, but a quick answer. You can ask a quick question, but if I can't answer it quickly by typing a sentence or two in an email response or a text response or something like that, it's not a quick answer. So you might include quick answers as part of your services. You might include some other support options as well, or separate packages for your support. Let them pay for the support and having us there. So I know several people that are doing this now, and it's really helping quite a lot there. Another thing that I failed to do for many, many, many years, I didn't implement an annual increase. How many of you raise your fees annually? I hope many of you. And so let's just go ahead and open and ask that one right now. This will be another poll question here. How often do you increase your fees? How often are you increasing your fees? I didn't increase them at all, probably the first 5 years or so. And so my rates had gotten kind of very, undervalued, and they were too low compared to where they should be. Well, they were too low compared to where they should be because I started way too low too. So really, we should be increasing our rates every single year, because every year you have more experience, assuming you're working. Every year you have more experience. Every year you've hopefully had some training and some education. You've learned more. You might have gotten certified. Every year you're more valuable to your clients. So you should be increasing those rates every year, even if it's just a small percentage. That keeps you from getting too far behind from there. And Mindy is doing a fabulous job answering some of these questions for you and providing links. So thank you. And we're going to get into the survey results in just a second here. I just wanted to go over some of this with us. Somebody asked about various engagement letters for different levels of service. And George, I don't provide sample engagement letters. Hector has done that. If you go watch one of the previous Power Hours, QB Power Hour archives, Hector provided a discussion about engagement letters, and getting into the details. Those are actually a legal contract between you and your client. And I think that he did include a link with some sample engagement letters. But check with an industry like the AIPB or the industry associations. Check with your errors and omissions insurance provider. A lot of times they have specific language they want you to include in your engagement letter. Okay, last call on this survey, and I'm going to share these results for you. So I'm going to go ahead and close that survey. And this is great. 20% of you are doing it annually. Way to go. That's awesome. 23% every couple of years. 39% of you know time frame. That I'd say needs improvement. You should be setting a time frame for that and increase those rates, all right? So that's my challenge to you, is to increase your billing rates on a regular basis. That way your clients get used to it. So that way your clients will get used to it as well. All righty. Okay, somebody says, how much should the percentage fees increase each year? I can't tell you that. I'm not going to tell you should raise it 2% every year, 5% every year. If it's a certain year where you'll see here in just a moment, certified pro advisors have a higher billing rate. So maybe you got certified during the year, it should go up more than normal in that year. So there's various things to take into consideration, but at least a small percentage every year, I would recommend increasing that. And I want to share Lydia's comment here. I've increased rates as QBO has increased, and I've only been doing this full-time a year starting in September, but I'm anticipating doing an overhaul of my fees, doing an increase and adjustment at the beginning of the year. Awesome. Very good. All right. Somebody wants to know some more details about support offerings to the clients. So how do you explain to a client what's a quick answer and what's not? So Sherry, the way that I explain it to them is, they may have a quick question, but there's no quick answer. If it's a quick answer, that means I can type an answer in a couple of sentences. It takes me like a couple of minutes to reply to their email or text. or their message or whatever. So a quick answer, it could be anything from I forgot how to do this, or I forgot which report I looked at for that. It could be very basic stuff. It's quick questions. Sometimes people will include up to an hour of consulting or an hour of specific questions in their package. So that's where you can decide what's going to work for you. One thing I can tell you is when you include support options, very, very few of your clients abuse it, because what you need to do is set guidelines. When you have a certain number of questions, you write them down, keep track of them, put it to, ask Michelle or ask my accountant until we can set up a time to talk about it. And then you schedule a time to talk about it. So they just don't shoot you or call you or text you a question every 5 minutes when it pops into their head. Very few clients will abuse that, but we have to tell them what the rules are, what the guidelines are, and how it works. Okay, I'm going to get back into the content here and go through so we can get into those survey results. Another thing is make sure, just a couple more quick comments here, best practices, things that I've learned over the years, and I hope you can learn from this too. If you fail to quit working when you're not getting paid, we can see the financial statements. We can see the cash flow, the bank account. We know when our clients are not paying accounts payable on a timely basis and when they're struggling. I had a bleeding heart. I was sympathetic. I kept working when I knew the ship was going down and I wasn't getting paid. I shouldn't do that. Other people don't do that. So, lesson learned, get retainers up front and work off of your retainers. Also, if you're doing recurring bookkeeping or payroll on a regular basis, set up recurring sales receipts so you're not invoicing and chasing them for payment. You're automatically getting paid at a specific period of time. And then also, a couple of other things that you can do as far as money mistakes is worrying about the cost of technology. And I'm going to go rant mode here for just a minute because I've been guilty of this too. This app costs how much per month? And it's per client. I don't want to pay for that. Well, what we do when we do that, that's very short-sighted, and we need to get over looking at that. We need to realize this technology is our power tools. Okay, it is our power tools. You will not see a construction guy out there building a house, hammering in nails with a hammer or using a saw that way. They're using a power nail gun and a power saw and things like that because those power tools allow them to get the job done faster so they can build more houses and make more money. I venture many of you do tax returns, right? Most of you, I would venture all of you probably use a tax prep software, right? You're paying hundreds, thousands of dollars for tax prep software to do the tax returns. Theoretically, you could do them manually. You could go download the PDF from the IRS, fill it out manually, make all the paper copies, and send them in instead of e-filing, theoretically, right? I imagine many of you are laughing at me right now. That's absurd. I would never do that. I never want to go back to paper filing. I love e-filing. It saves me so much time. And you use that tax prep software because you can do more tax returns. You can make more money because it makes you more efficient. So we need to realize that these apps, QuickBooks Online, these tools, these are our power tools. So we need them to improve our efficiency and profitability. I am so happy to pay $20 a month for something that can save me several hours of time, right? It's a no-brainer. So quit looking at just the cost of it. And I know somebody who said, oh, my client would never want to pay that for an app. And there's this client who's paying like $300 a month for a inventory app, and the client is happy about it. They're thrilled to pay $300 a month for that inventory app because it cut their head count by 2 people. It automated them and made them so much more efficient. Those 2 people could move into sales or do something else. It helped them improve their efficiency and ultimately profitability. So keep some of that in mind there. We need those profit tools. And then also, not investing or attending training or conferences. We need to keep up with technology, so you guys are ahead of the curve on this one by attending QB Power Hour and learning and keeping up to date with the changes in technology and stuff. Way to go, because that's very important. So I'm glad to see you guys here. Not everybody is doing this. It's amazing when I go on the tour and I go teach QuickBooks certification in various cities, how many people are so far behind on some of this stuff still. So that's very important. So let's get back into, and somebody says, love the power tools metaphor. Great. Please help me spread that word. Okay, so first of all, the billing rate survey, I already told you some of this, that Heather and I worked on it and with Intuit. Intuit really upped the game this year and made the results amazing. You're going to see this in just a minute. So here's the link where you can go in and get into an infographic where you can really drill down and dig into the details behind the summary charts. And you're going to see this in just a minute. So make sure that you go here and check this out. Scroll to the bottom, put in your email information for next year's survey so we can have more than 1,000 replies. I would like 2,000 to 3,000 replies. Let's get more details in here. And then there's 3 specific articles that Heather and I co-authored giving more charts and graphs and some of our comments and insights into some of the results of the survey, some things that we thought surprising and things like that. So look right here and you'll find the links to those, and I'll show you this in just a minute. We're going to blow through this part because you guys can look at the demographics of who took the survey. This gives you a breakdown. The majority of them are sole practitioners. So we're talking about small firms that are answering this, not larger firms, and you can see that with the size of business as well. What's the designation? We do have results provided by designations, so you'll want to look at that as well. This I thought was awesome, the number of years in business, because I would expect someone who's been in business a long time, we've already learned from a lot of our mistakes. So I'm very glad to see a good representation out here of a variety of businesses from just getting started to over 20 years in business. So we had a good breakdown there. Again, most of them were small firms. You can see we had like 86% that were less than 5 people. Now, this is where we have a lot of pro advisors answer, which is awesome. And you can see kind of which level they're at. You'll see the designation in a little bit, where you'll see pro advisors who get certified have higher billing rates. Before we get into all this detail and talking about the average billing rate results that we have, I want to share this fun little video with you. So, and I'm going to go ahead and turn off my webcam because the rest of the time we're going to be getting into stuff, and I want you to pay attention to that, and then that way I can also pay attention so you're not looking at me. So here goes this fun little video. I'm sure you can relate to it, okay? Hold on one sec.
Welcome to Bob's Barbecue. I'm Bob. What can I get for you? Yeah, can I get a pulled pork sandwich? Is that for here or to go? For here. I need 1 order at earmarks on domestic legislation. Got 1 pulled pork coming up. So how much is that going to cost? $60 an hour. Sorry, what? Yes, $60 an hour. You know, a buck a minute. It's how we've always done it. So how long is it going to take? Typically 5 minutes, but 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. is our busy season, so it's hard to tell for sure. So you can't actually tell me how much it's going to cost? We haven't made it yet. Yeah, keep your pants on. Okay, so it's probably going to cost about $5. Yeah, that's right, Renee. It should take about 5 minutes. So do you ever finish in less than 5 minutes? Dude, there was this one time we made a pulled pork in 3.5 minutes. Guy saved so much money, he bought hush puppies. And how much are hush puppies? Hello, $60 an hour. Now, unfortunately, that day we did have a problem with the fryer, and it ended up costing $14 for his hush puppies. But those hush puppies got our undivided attention for 14 minutes. Ended up being some pretty damn good hush puppies, too. Remember those hush puppies, Jimbo? Damn good hush puppies, Bob. Damn good.
You don't pay for your food service this way, so why would you pay for your business management software projects this way?
All right, so I'm sure you all could relate to that, right? I know some of you said it was a little soft. I did put the link in there so you can see those survey results, or see the video as well. But it's absurd to keep charging hourly, and our clients don't like it either. We really need to get away from that, all right? So here's some example of where you can see hourly billing is going down. Look what it was in 2016. 88% of the people were charging hourly. Now we're down to 57%. So I think that's a good improvement. The value pricing went up from 18% to 28% as more and more people are learning about this. So they're starting to do this and implement implement this. And it only makes sense because we provide the same results to our clients. We're providing the same value. We're providing the same monthly bookkeeping, the same financial reports, the same payroll and payroll tax returns and things like that. We're providing the same results. However, with technology, we're able to work more efficiently and get things done faster and more efficiently because we're automating numerous things. That doesn't take away from the value of what we're providing because we've developed the skill, the expertise, the knowledge, the technical know-how to implement and use these power tools to get things done faster. Doesn't mean we should make less money. So I'm very glad to see, you can see some of that results there. Let me just go ahead and show you, well, you can go in and dig into the details. We're going to get into that in just a minute. But I love the fact that more people are moving away from hourly to value pricing or fixed pricing. Different people have different terminology that they use for that. Now we also, so first of all, we are going to talk about some hourly rates because that gives us a benchmark. Even though we're moving away from it, we still have a lot of people that are doing it. So, and it gives us a benchmark. So we've got the breakdown here on hourly billing rates by certification level. Notice for, first of all, for accounting and bookkeeping versus QuickBooks, troubleshooting and consulting, and training. The QuickBooks and the training, these have overall higher rates. I think that's because it's more specialized. It's viewed as more valuable. It requires more expertise. But in general, on all three of them, the green bar is people who are not certified. Maybe they're a pro advisor, maybe they're not, but they are not certified. Certified pro advisors are charging a higher rate, and advanced pro advisors are charging even a higher rate. Lesson learned. Get certified if you are not already. My goodness, it is free. I don't know why you wouldn't do this. It doesn't take that long, especially for that core certification. The QuickBooks Online Pro Advisor program is free for the cloud aspect of it. For the QuickBooks Online aspect, you can be a pro advisor for free. The certification training is free. The test is free. It's all free. It only requires some time. All right. So we just finished up a tour in various cities doing certification training. I'm pretty sure that in the fall, we're going to be going to various cities again. But there's also self-paced training in your course locker. There's webinars that go on every single month. So write this down. If you need additional training, write down qbtrainingevents.com. qbtrainingevents with an S.com, qbtrainingevents.com. There's webinars, there's virtual conferences, and then there's also the in-person training, which is probably not much in July and August because we know everybody's on vacation. So anyway, lesson learned, get certified. Those of you that are certified, if you got certified in QuickBooks Online prior to the end of February, I think it was, you need to renew your certification. We are no longer on an 365-day renew every year based on your anniversary date. Everybody now needs to renew by July 31st of each year. So if you got certified prior to February, you need to recertify. And the good news is now, if you're already certified, there's a recertification exam that's much shorter and does not take you as much time. Okay, so if you're not certified yet, get certified and then start working on that advanced certification. Kat says she just passed the QBO Advanced in May. Woohoo! Congratulations. There we go. Awesome. Diana says, what about the free training? qbtrainingevents.com. And then also, as a pro advisor, it's in your course locker. Okay? Okay, let's go ahead and launch another polling question here. What is your primary billing method? And thank you, Ann, for reminding me. You guys keep me on my toes, and I need that. Thank you. And thank you, Mindy, for posting that link to qbtrainingevents.com. And Karen said she recertified yesterday. Next step, QBO Advanced, already Desktop Advanced. So, Karen, I'm glad you're going to be working on the QBO Advanced certification. I will tell you, I think, and I think others agree with me, I'm not sure, but I think The QBO Advanced, the online Advanced, is easier than the desktop Advanced. So if you are desktop Advanced, I feel confident you will be able to get online Advanced. The most challenging thing about QuickBooks Online is that you do need to go through the training materials and follow the methodologies there, but it's the time commitment. A lot of people just don't want to commit that time to earning that advanced certification. So I encourage you to do that. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and answer this poll question. Only 85% of you have answered this, so I'm going to give you about 5 more seconds. If you need CPE, quit multitasking, get over here and answer this question. All right, so go ahead and get this polling question if you need CPE. All right, so I'm going to close this. Thank you, we're up to 91% now. I'm going to close this in 3, 2, 1, and close. There we go. And I'll go ahead and share the results with you. It's pretty split in here. 39% hourly, 37% fixed fee, and 18% value price. Way to go. I love that. And actually, let's just pop into the survey results and let's take a look out here. This is that link that Mindy was providing to you. It's under firmofthefuture.com. If you go to firmofthefuture.com and look under, you'll see it, the 2018 Intuit Average Billing Rate Survey results. This is where we're taking a deeper dive. And so here's what I just showed you. I did a screenshot of this section. There's details all up in here where you can get into that detail. But here's what we were just talking about under the pricing method. If I click Take a Closer Look, it allows me to drill down and to see for monthly accounting and bookkeeping, catch up, payroll, cleanup, tax prep, technology consulting. We can drill down into details to see how people are doing this. And I found it interesting. Notice under payroll right here, a lot of us are already doing fixed fees. Less of us are doing hourly billing and more doing fixed fees and value pricing. Under payroll, definitely on cleanup and troubleshooting, more people are still doing hourly. Now, I encourage you on the hourly, I apologize. Thank you for telling me. You guys keep me in line. Okay, here's where I was on the digging into a deeper dive of the survey results. So here's pricing method, what we were just talking about. If I click on Take a Closer Look, this is where I'm able to drill down and get into these details. And you can get in here, and I was just talking about payroll, where I can see we have a lot. Hourly pricing isn't as predominant, and a lot of people are value pricing and fixed fees. But yet over here under cleanup, we can see hourly billing is still the predominant one. I encourage you, when it comes to cleanup and troubleshooting, we still have some tools that can help to make this faster and more efficient. Hello, have you used the the reclassify transactions? That tool is awesome, where you have the ability to reclassify transactions. In the bank feeds, you can quickly undo things that are wrong and redo them and set up bank rules and stuff like that. So you can do cleanup and troubleshooting faster as well. What I encourage you to do on cleanup and troubleshooting is give them a range. The range might be, all right, this cleanup work is going to take us from anywhere from $1,000 to $3,000. We don't know exactly how much until we get into it, but we need a deposit of $500 up front before we're even going to start working. And then as you go along, as you work off what you think is $500 of your fee, then you go ahead and bill them and invoice them and collect some more. Because if they're not willing to pay you up front, what makes you think they're going to pay you later, right? If they won't pay you now, they're not going to pay you later. So, and then as the job is progressing, you can tell them, hey, things are looking great. It does not look like we're going to get anywhere near the $3,000 threshold, so things are looking pretty good. We don't have too much left to clean up. Or you could say, hey, we're halfway into this. We've discovered additional things dealing with payroll or inventory, or this is set up wrong, or that is, and it is going to be closer to the 3,000 range because of some of these things. So you still, instead of completely hourly, you can still give the client some kind of a ballpark. Well, clients don't like to know what it, just like, how much is my burger going to cost? Well, I don't know. It's $60 an hour. Or my pulled pork sandwich, it's $60 an hour. $14 for hush puppies? I would not have bought them if I knew that. Our clients want an idea up front. Plus, when you charge them incrementally, and it's making sure you're going to get paid and it's helping the client's cash flow. So a couple things there. So again, you can dig into the details. Now, somebody says, what's the differences between fixed fee and value billing and all that? So hourly billing, you understand that. We just bill $60 an hour for our food, no matter how long it takes us. Value pricing is where, think about this for tax forms. Many of you that do tax returns probably are doing it priced per form. That's a little bit of value pricing. A good example of value pricing is where I say, you know what, we're going to do a conversion and setup for you. It's going to be $1,000. It's value pricing because the knowledge is in cleaning up that desktop file, condensing that desktop file, getting things in good shape prior to doing the conversion. The conversion tool does most of the work. It doesn't really take that much. So that's an example of value pricing where you're pricing it based on the value we're providing and the value the client perceives. Ron Baker is the king of value pricing. I encourage you to check out some of his webinars. There's recordings out there. I know there's some on YouTube. There used to be some under firmofthefuture.com where you could go check some of that out. And remember, Hector's getting into more details on some of this next week. Okay, fixed fees is where people aren't quite to value pricing yet, but they're not billing hourly anymore. They know about how long it's going to take, how much time is involved, and things like that. They give the client a fixed fee of $1,000 a month, or $500 a month, or whatever it is. So, and again, Hector's going to go over some more details on some of that stuff next week. Then also we were talking about the details by certification. Again, on each one of these where I have a summary chart for screenshot in the slides, you can click, take a deeper look, and dive into these details where you can go in and see more details on each one of these things. So let's go back into the slides. I wanted to make sure to discuss a few more of these. Pricing on Purpose by Ron Baker. Thank you, James. Yes, that's his book. And it's worth it. It's kind of expensive for that book. It's out on Amazon, Pricing on Purpose, but it's definitely worth it to get that out there. Okay. This is great. I just have to read this. Sorry. Somebody's saying, hey, Michelle and Hector, I appreciate all your team support. I'm just completing my business model today. Happy to be moving on to my QuickBooks Pro certification. Yay! You know, we love sharing those things with you. So if you guys share on the Power Hour Facebook group, we love to hear when you're getting certified and when you're progressing and doing some of these things. So make sure you share your successes with us. We love to hear that. Now, let's look at the average rates by population density. Where do you live? I always hear people saying, oh, I'm in the country down here under rural or semi-rural. I'm in the country, so I can't charge as much as the big city people, you know, the urban areas. My rates are lower because of that. I'm still thinking there's more discrepancy here than actually, I think in 2016, there was less of a spread, and it might be the way we worded the questions or some things there. These are not scientific surveys by any means, so they are definitely not scientific. But this is where I believe, and I think, this is Michelle's opinion, based on technology today, I can be anywhere and work with any client from any city, any location, anywhere, globally. So I don't really think it matters where you are anymore. So I think you and I think some of these people who are making these excuses that, well, I'm in the country, my clients won't pay that much. I think broaden your horizons. Stop looking for clients that are in the country and in the rural areas. Maybe you can have clients in other places. So somebody said, what is NA? That could be people from other countries, or maybe they weren't sure what their classification was. So I'm not exactly sure without taking a closer look to see what NA was and actually digging into the survey details. So I'd have to look into that. But take a look at some of that. That was interesting. Now this, you'll notice this is different. This is one of the articles where Heather and I, and let me just pop back into the billing rate survey and show you this. So when you go, let's just show you from the beginning. If you just go to firmofthefuture.com, firmofthefuture.com, you will see it's new, so it's right here at the top. It says 2018 Intuit Average Billing Rate Survey. Read more. This is going to take you in where you can see out here, Heather and I wrote this article, which is the first results. Then there's also these other two articles, rates by region, credential and certification, and then best sources to find new clients, talking about marketing and referrals, things like that. Here's where you click to get that interactive tool that I was just showing you, where you can drill into all these survey results and get into some of those details down there and take a closer look. So in one of the articles, you will find different charts and graphs in the article here. So under average billing rates, you can see we broke it down and gave you more details on the services that they're providing based on designation. And then over here, not certified versus certified or advanced certified. So in the articles, you will find some additional charts and graphs with some additional information where you might want to look at some of that to take a look at it. Then the other thing that's really amazing, and I encourage you to go look at, where we're taking a deeper dive, let me just pop into it and show you. In here, where you're looking at the survey results, and Intuit, this is the stuff that Intuit did for us, this whole infographics and drilling down into the deeper dive. I love it. We've never had this before, and I think it's amazing. So as I get in here, I can click on any of these. So for example, here's Canada. You can see their average hourly rate is 55, and I believe we converted those. In some places you'll see where it says US dollars and stuff. So out here you can see California, average rate $76 an hour. Washington, 81, 70 here for Oregon. This is, it's not Colorado, that's Montana. Idaho is Wyoming, that's Wyoming. Sorry. I got to remember my geography. And with Wyoming and North Dakota, those states that are white, we didn't get enough people to respond to provide those results. So you could come out here and click and drill down and get into your state to see the results. Now you see this kind of light green here. This is amazing. Tennessee is reporting highest average rates. And we also got Vermont with some very high rates up there. And then down here, there's another one in here. So you can get in here and drill down into these details. So I think that is great. Somebody says, how do you differentiate between bookkeeper and accountant who is not a CPA? We had an accountant as a designation. So we had bookkeeper, certified bookkeeper, accountant, certified public accountant, EA. So we broke some of those details down. And Deborah says, woohoo, from Knoxville, Tennessee. Hey, I was just in Nashville. You have some great people there in Tennessee, I'll tell you that. I was actually doing a firm training down in Nashville on Tuesday. So you do have some great on-the-ball people in Tennessee. So you guys need to share some of your expertise with us. And David says Tennessee's high because he charges $150 an hour. Awesome. Okay, so let's go ahead and, then the other thing I wanted to share with you, because, we're talking about fixed fees and value pricing and things. So one of the things that we did in the survey, we came together with some scenarios. And I would love for you guys to type in some of your comments in here, some of your questions, things that you wanted to share and discuss with one another, what are your thoughts of the survey and things. So what we did, though, is this is an example at the bicycle retail store. We gave a scenario of how they're operating, what their procedures are, do they have inventory, how much activity is there, like 50 bills per month, how many bank accounts. We tried to provide lots of details so people could say, okay, based on this pretend client here, based on this client scenario, what would I charge? And so there we've got some examples. We called it average fixed fees because I don't know that people are truly value pricing or not. And so we just, stick to one terminology that the majority of the people seem like they're using. As more and more move to value pricing, many of us are still actually doing fixed fees. So this is interesting where you can see the different results here based on certification level. Enterprise certified, they're charging the highest rates. Advanced certified in either QuickBooks Online or desktop, both of those have high rates. Point of sale certified, again, as you earn these designations, you're demonstrating industry expertise and you're demonstrating your specialized knowledge and expertise, and you can and should have higher fees. So I thought that was awesome. And then down here, of course, is not certified. Over here, you've got by professional designation. And here's where you can see accountant, not CPA. So we did break that down for you. And you can, if you don't see it on the summary chart, click, to get into the details. And you can click and drill down and get more details out there. So go in and look at those fixed fee results as well. There's some good information out there on that. Now, this is where I really wanted to get into this and go talk to you about some of this as well. So again, get into this, and I see there's still questions about how do I get into it. When you're on that screen, sometimes you zoom into it. The way that you get into this was firmofthefuture.com. Let me just click back here. If you just type in, because people are still saying, I can't find it, type in firmofthefuture.com. On the very first home page, it shows right here, 20 Intuit rate survey. And that will take you to the first article. When I click read more, come on, I did click it. It's just decided to be slow. Click read more, and here's our first article of the 3. Here's where you click get an interactive tool. That then takes you into all the details where you can drill down into, here's the demographics where we were asking, who's taking the survey, what is their designation, how many years in business, and you'll see some summary quotes of the data in here. You can drill down on all that. There's your average rate by state. Scroll down even more, and here's where you can get into some of the details. The rate changes. I thought I had a slide in there on that. I love this. Look how much the rates have changed in 2 years, from 12% minimum to 19%. Those of you that said you're not increasing your billing rates, you're getting very behind. Somebody said it is very slow. Everyone's looking at it right now. And Mindy has put the hyperlink in the chat for you. So you can click the link that Mindy put out there for you. Thank you very, very much, Mindy. I appreciate that. So this is where hopefully you look at this and you say, my peers are increasing their rates every year. I need to. And I saw a question, somebody says, how do you convince your clients? Well, first of all, you can see if your client's an employee or if your clients got their own business, did they get a raise as an employee? Did they increase their rates as a small business? If not, you should be advising them that they should be increasing their prices. Things go up. The cost of living every year, the cost of living goes up. Therefore, the cost of business, the cost of everything goes up every year. Not to mention your skills, knowledge, and expertise goes up every more. You're more valuable. You know more about that client. You have more insights to that client. But the key is we need to be working on client relationships, not just doing the books and providing the financials to them, but being their partner in that business and helping them as an advisor to grow their business, to see insights to their business. And now we're getting off on a whole different tangent where I could spend a lot of time on this. I can't do that. But I will tell you, a couple of years ago, I did a QB Power Hour talking about financial results and how to understand the financial statement ratios. And it talked about profitability as well as another one on their leverage and liquidity, their financial position. There were 2 webinars where we talked about understanding those and helping your client and learn how they can improve their ratios and their financial results. So you might want to check some of those out as well. All right, I'm going to launch one more survey here, and then we'll move on some more. Somebody says, do you inform your clients of a price increase, even if it's a small one? Absolutely. You'd never want to blindside them. And what you should be doing is having the pricing discussion with your clients on an annual basis. So hopefully you've got them into a fixed/value pricing situation where it's $1,000 a month. And in your engagement letter, it says, we will do this, 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 and this. That's what's included. And we will not do this, that, and the other. That is not included as part of our arrangement. If you need additional services, we definitely can do that for you. Like, for example, if you're going to apply for a bank loan, you need us to help with that. We can do that. What we'll do is a change order, and we'll let you know how much it's going to be for that special project that you need help on. So don't let scope creep come into play, where they keep asking for a little bit more. You need to tell them, well, that's not part of our arrangement, but we definitely can help with that. But this is how much it's going to be. So you might be communicating to them on an annual basis about their engagement letter, and that's the perfect time to tell them, hey, we're going up 3% this year. We've had additional trainings, we've been to additional education experience, and our rates are going up 3% this year. And do it matter of factly. And you know what else? If you lose a client or two along the way, so what? That is not a good client anyway, and the next person that came along that charges less than you do, they're out the door anyway. They're not a loyal client. If they are that price sensitive, you don't want or need clients like that. And I understand, because I did that when I first started. I told you I made lots of mistakes. Been there, done that. We don't need those kinds of clients, but when you first are starting out, you're hungry, you need every client you can get. I understand that. But after you're pretty solid, you don't have to be full on your client, engagements and stuff. But once you're pretty solid and you're paying the bills and you're doing all right, you need to learn to say no to some of these clients. And if you lose them, oh, well, too bad, so sad. Chances are they will go to somebody cheaper who will mess things up, and then they're going to be coming back to you happy to pay more because they realize the value. So that's my rant mode on that. Okay, let's go ahead. I'm going to give you 3 more seconds. If you need CPE, please answer this survey question or this poll question here. Give you 3 more seconds. Only 85% have answered CPE. Quit looking at the survey results. Answer the question. All right, 3, 2, 1, done. And I love this. So 28% of you are guilty of setting your prices too low, 15% not raising prices annually, 8% still charging hourly, 40% all of the above, and then some said NA. Okay. And the thing of it is, we all make mistakes. I mean, goodness gracious, that's how we all do better, learn more, move farther ahead, and all that stuff. So it's okay to make mistakes. The great thing is being able to move forward and stop doing the same things, right? So, we want to focus on that. And Hector typed in here, creating more value is the key. Absolutely. We want to add value for those clients. Hector's going more in depth on that in 2 weeks. I think I said 1 week earlier. It's 2 weeks from today, the next QB Power Hour, because I'm focusing on survey results here. I don't have time to get into all that detail. So a couple more things I want to talk about in our final minutes. Please join me, or hang on for this, and let me go through this. Those of you that have to drop off, great, but in just a couple minutes, I will probably be going 5 to 10 minutes over you. With those of you who can stay with me, very interesting results here where we talk about cloud adoption. Are you and your clients moving to the cloud? And if not, why not, and all that. So I was surprised here. In the cloud, we have 61.75% that are in the cloud already, but we still have 36.75 not in the cloud yet. So taking a closer look at this, I want to know why. Why are people not moving to the cloud? So this is where we asked, the difference between reasons for avoiding the cloud. Your respondents' reasons, the accounting and bookkeepers who answered the survey versus your clients' reasons. Look at this. Many of us report that our clients say the features don't meet their needs. There's an app for that. Those of you that are saying, I'm not going to QuickBooks Online until it does everything that QuickBooks Desktop can do. I got news for you. It never will. It is not desktop. It isn't meant to be desktop, and it never will be desktop and have every little thing that's in desktop. But if there's something you did in desktop that you need to do in QBO, if it's not in QBO, which a lot of times people just don't realize what they can do in QBO and what is available because they haven't learned that much about it. But there's an app for that. There's an app for that. Go add on third-party apps to get the specialized features that you need. Those apps are amazing, and they help a lot. Security. If our clients are concerned about security, that's our fault because we're not communicating with them. The data is more secure on Intuit servers than on those desktop servers. Desktop files are the most vulnerable. They're so easy to hack and things like that. So it's actually safer. Your data is safer on Intuit servers than it is on your own computers. None of us can spend millions and millions of dollars like Intuit does on data security. The cost, I already went over that. Power tools. Stop using a hammer and a nail. Get a nail gun, right? Power tools. unsure how to convert. Again, that's our problem for not helping the clients with this. Inadequate internet service. Now, I can understand this in some places. That's still a problem. I encourage you to look at hotspots or satellite service. Okay? And if your internet works fast for everything else, but not for QuickBooks Online, clear your cache and cookies. If the internet in your office is slow, but it's fast elsewhere, have your internet checked out in your office. You can and probably do have problems with your router or your server. One time I even had them dig up the line outside my house to replace it because it was corroded from the water over the years. And now all of a sudden my internet was blazing fast once they fixed it. So I was shocked about these reasons for avoiding the cloud, because we can overcome a lot of this by communicating with our clients, by helping our clients, by learning more about these things ourselves and helping our clients, because I am a long-time desktop user. All right, I started using desktop almost in DOS, not quite. I was on version 5 or 6, and started teaching desktop in 1999. I authored books about that desktop, co-authored the advanced cert on desktop. I am a long-time desktop user. And I can tell you about 5 years ago, I think it was roughly, when I first started using QuickBooks Online, the new QuickBooks Online, I didn't like it. I hated it. I wanted desktop back. Until I learned how to create a bookmark bar for my icon bar, how I could do open windows through tabbed browsing in QuickBooks Online, how I could have multiple companies open, how I could do things differently. There were still keyboard shortcuts in QBO. And the more I learned about QuickBooks Online, the more I loved it. And honestly, I don't even work in desktop anymore. And when I do, it's clunky and dated and old. You will love QuickBooks Online, and your clients will, most of them. Those that don't, move on. Focus on the 80% that get it. Don't worry about the 20% that don't. Those 20% may not be in business in 2, 3, 4 years from now because they're unwilling to adopt to change or adapt to change. So that's my rant mode. But I was just really shocked, like I said, by some of this, and you could scroll down and see some different questions there on the technology and stuff, but that was one of my shocking things, I guess, was how many people aren't moving, and a lot of those things I felt like we could help our clients overcome those things, that why they're not converting. So under the reasons for avoiding the cloud, we just talked about that. Another thing that's interesting, and take a look at Article 3 on this, is client acquisition and retention. You know, how are we getting clients? If you look, all 4 of these on the top are referrals. Vast majority of our clients are still coming from referrals, and they are coming from online as well. So we need to remember that and focus on those referrals and everything. And somebody says, what if you prefer using a Mac? When you're using QuickBooks Online, it doesn't matter. You can still use a Mac. It doesn't matter if you're using a Mac or a PC. You're logging in through a browser, preferably Chrome, because that's the one that's recommended and works best for QuickBooks Online. So with final words here, I'm going to give you one more poll question. Did you learn something new? Did you learn something new? And somebody says Intuit should absolutely provide backup and recovery for all customers, including QBO, shouldn't have to pay extra for it. George, you know, the thing of it is, there are those people who want the comfort of knowing I can back it up. For those people, there's a third-party app for that. Rewind, Chronobooks, there's apps that now allow you to back up QuickBooks Online. Be careful because they don't back up payroll. But Intuit is backing up that data in the sense where a lot of the reason we did backups was if I lose my computer, if my computer hard drive crashes, I don't want to lose my data. That's the #1 reason for doing backups. There's no worries. If somebody loses or steals your computer, your hard drive crashes, you go log in from any other computer and you can access your QuickBooks data. It's there, so you don't have that problem. So anyway, you guys had some great questions here. So all right, let me go ahead and give you a couple more seconds on that poll question. Any last minute questions or comments? I appreciate it. A lot of you stuck with me a few minutes overtime here. So a lot of you stuck with me a few minutes overtime. So go ahead, answer this poll question. I'm going to give you 3, 2, 1, and close. 65% of you learned something new. Actually, in total, 30, about 95% of you learned something new. So that is awesome. I'm really glad to have you joining me. I hope this was helpful for you. Now, like I said throughout the webinar, we didn't have time to get into more details and more discussions. Hector's going to do that with you in 2 weeks from now. So join Hector on July 26th, Creating Value and Pricing Accounting Services, a deep dive. I will try to join you and answer some questions for that, but Hector's going to be going into all those details for you, so I encourage you to do that. I hope this was helpful. Please take some time to go out and dig into those survey results, and please scroll down to the end of that where you're digging into the results. Scroll down to the very bottom of that page and put your email out there for next year. As you can see, we do things in aggregate. We're not going to release any of your confidential information. Okay, so go ahead and do that. And somebody says, where may I find the recording of this presentation? Fury, later today, it will be on my YouTube channel, and then Hector will get it on the QB Power Hour archives, and I think he usually puts it on his YouTube channel as well. So it will be out there on my channel, Michelle Long CPA, later today, and then Hector usually sends out a follow-up email with a link to that recording as well. And Karen says, always good to have a reinforcement on value pricing. I'm slowly converting everyone over. It is a process. That's awesome, and I'm so glad that you got into that. So very good. All right. Well, thank you all for joining us. I'm very glad to have you join me today. I hope that you enjoyed the rest of the day. And here's that link to that Facebook group. You can continue the discussion in our Facebook group. If you want to keep talking about this and sharing your comments with one another, just go out to the QB Power Hour Facebook group, or if you prefer LinkedIn, there's a group for out there as well. All right? Thanks, everybody. I really appreciate you joining me today. Thanks
Bye, everybody.
so much.
Great job, Michelle.
Bye, Hector.